Okay, so this is going to be the last Zoom call for the week, but I want to enlighten you all on how I'm going to kind of move differently heading into the remainder of 2025 and then rolling into 2026 in light of some recent activity that took place amongst almost, it seems like, all content creators on YouTube, but we were just attacked. And so in today's video, I kind of want to show you guys my conversation with YouTube. Um, And I'm only going to make this portion of the video. This is going to be a two-part video breakdown. One, going over why I'm switching my content, and then kind of dabbling into what my content is going to be more oriented towards moving forward because of this event. So I'll shave this off in two parts. The first part will only be on probably uploaded on Rumble and Twitter, and then the second part I'll chop it up, and then that is how my content is going to look on YouTube moving forward. It's not going to be fast. I'm going to slowly drip feed it in and then do the full shift towards just making this type of content moving forward for YouTube. Um, and all of my trading related content, all of my you know, anything trade related or crypto related is now only pretty much going to get fed into Twitter and Rumble. So, um, if you guys are watching this as a recording, make sure that you go over that type of CYPRX content, like trade breakdowns, crypto related content, research stuff. That's all only going to be on Twitter and Rumble. So still going to upload on YouTube, but after this recent event, it's just not worth taking such a hit on something that I've built for the past 6 years because there's no clarity right now, and I have no idea how to go about this moving forward. It's honestly put a weird feeling in my stomach and has verified a lot of the things that I had previously said that my content has been targeted, shadow banned, it's been taken down, it's been deleted, it's been attacked, it's been um, honestly, again, just targeted by the algorithm. I've tried to show people that, and then this today's video breakdown is going to 110% prove that there's something out there, like a shadow algorithm that we can't see that controls content on YouTube and on these social media platforms. So that's what I'm going to go over first. Then the second portion, I want to break down just kind of like the month that I experienced. I want to orient more attention towards psychology and trading on the content that I provide for YouTube. So I want to just take everybody's attention to my journal. So every single day, I usually come into this section in the Discord, and I just kind of want to go over my journey with you all, um, and the content that I'm going to make for YouTube moving forward. You guys will get the private version where we can have these open discussions and we can talk about my notes for the day on the chapter, these books that I'm reading, and how I relate them to my trading and my personal life and this, and that. And the general public will not. They will just only be able to see the recording. They won't be able to participate in the conversation or the forward thinking or the active writing of these PDFs that I'm going to open up to you guys. I've been creating these PDFs for myself. They're kind of just like my notes. I have a whole entire folder of them. But now moving forward, um, I'll share my notes with you guys on the segments of the books that I read and then upload the PDFs that we create as a team. If you guys want to add anything at the end of my notes, we can create a team footnote section where we discuss and talk about these things psychologically, and then we'll upload the PDFs for later references to the Discord section and the educational PDF section, right? And so that's the content that's going to get uploaded on YouTube. We're just going to dabble into these book sections, and I'm going to show you guys just kind of segments that I've enjoyed in the books that I read that I relate to my personal life in different ways that help me grow as an individual, which will inherently help you guys grow as well. All right. So starting off with the beginning portion of today's call.
That would be
So
great to get a response from that.
with that being said, that leads me into the second portion of today's video breakdown and why I'm shifting my content now on YouTube to just more esoteric and psychologically related content. And I'm not going to be making any more content on crypto moving forward. I mean, I will, like I said, it's going to be a slow drip. I'll slowly transition everybody over the coming months over to Rumble and YouTube to prepare them for the ceasefire of crypto and trading related content on YouTube. But yeah, this is, like I said, I'm not going to risk something that I've built for 6 years because YouTube's being freaking YouTube. So, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Like I could sit here and I could complain and I could be like, "Oh my God, they're unfair and blah 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 blah," but they got the power to control the minds of the masses and we're just pawns in the game. So, they win, right? They win at the end of the day. I'm gonna again switch my content and do the thing, but sometimes, you have to understand that they might have won the battle, but they didn't win the war, right? So that's the way I see that.
I mean, before we roll over, man, I just want to say that's messed up, dude. Like you were probably primarily the only person I really listened to on YouTube heavy.
It's crazy, huh? It's
Nah,
crazy,
man,
crazy work.
buy a Lambo, do moon boy prediction,
I know.
and you'll be in top.
That's what I'm thinking. Like I might switch it up completely, Avido. I'll go down to the dealership right now and cop a McLaren. I've always wanted one. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I think you gotta do that, bro. And then or like a 100K suit. You feel me?
I gotta sell
And
my soul.
that too. Don't forget about that. So,
CYPRX
sell
ain't
your
never selling
soul.
his soul. My fucking soul ain't never being sold, y'all. I don't give a fuck.
But
What
the
kind
views.
of man?
The views can eat it. I'd rather remain a freaking solely intact person. What I'm gonna do then again moving forward is I'm just going to I do these things personally, but instead of doing them personally, for myself, I'll just kind of open my notes and what I read for the day to you guys and kind of relate that to trading so that way we can all pay attention, focus on psychology improvement because that is a very big portion of not only how I've made success in people where they've watched my content or they listen to something I said and then turn that into a material reality for themselves. And it's happened quite frequently. There's a lot of people that I could name right off the rip that are successful traders in this community that I have conversations with every day. Like Justin, as an example, he just went to the freaking Bahamas and paid for the entire thing with trading profits. And he was one of my first students. So there's a lot of people like that that operate in this community that you might not know are profitable, but there's quite a handful of them nonetheless. And so I just want to share some of the insights that have helped me de-stress for the week. I usually, like I said, do this once a day, if not every other day at a minimum, but I spend a lot of time in the now books only section. Previous to this, it was the third eye psychology section. And I created these sections in the Discord because this is a very big aspect of my life and why I've become successful as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as an investor, and as a trader. And I honestly chuck a lot of my success up to my, spiritual awareness and my just strive for more life and just more clarity and more peace internally. Even though I don't feel like I've reached that yet, I definitely feel like a big part of my success was that I was willing and able to pick up books. I was willing and able to listen to audio. I was willing and able to listen to people that might have more information than me, soak that up, take out what I need from it, and then dispose the rest and apply what I soaked up that was important to me to my life and actually make it a tangible thing for myself. So I just want to kind of open that for you guys throughout the week. Like I said, this will kind of be the content moving forward that I start to incorporate. So today, I want to touch on one of the books that I had taken a look at today was called, I think I just lost it, so I apologize. It's called The Magus. Let's see. Or, yep, here it is right here. The Magus, the complete system of occult philosophy. Now, I've honestly just started from the top of this section and worked my way down. This is the first book so far that I've run into that I don't have in my physical collection. So I opened it up and I took a look at it. And one of the portions that I read today really stood out to me because of the message that I sent you guys this rising, right? So starting with the message that I sent you guys this rising, in case you missed it, because this has a lot of internal work in it and related to kind of what we talk about today. So my message to the private CyPRX community this rising when I woke up, I said, this month I made over $200,000 trading and I had a recent withdrawal of about $30,000 in profits, which you guys, I always, I'm not here to flex. I put my money where my mouth is at. The proof is right here, right? So here's all the payouts that I had this month. It equates to about $29,980 or something like that. along those lines, right? So almost 30 grand, just to round that up, right? So I said to you guys here, and honestly, the numbers are cool, but the real win was realizing how much of life is built to keep us thinking small. Everywhere you look, this world is designed to convince you that you are limited and that you are just a physical being, that you're powerless, that your dreams are too far out of reach. But once you start questioning all that noise and you start trusting your own potential, things shift fast. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I can remember certain areas and portions of my life where I was told to think this way, whether it was school, whether it was in the military, being belittled by drill sergeants, being belittled by higher ranking people. I've meditated on this. And so it really comes down to we live a lot of our lives being belittled and taught to think small. I continued this by saying, I'm not saying it's easy. I've had to unlearn a lot of beliefs that were never mine to begin with. Always remember that your mindset is everything. The ceiling only exists if you believe it does. If you're in this community, understand that this game changes the moment that you stop doubting yourself. Learn the skill, stay disciplined, and stop accepting the limits that this world has handed you. Because the truth is that you're not limited. You've just been taught to think that you are. My results this month are living proof that your beliefs shape your reality. If you think small, you'll live small. If you think bold and you move with conviction and back it up with discipline, the universe moves with you and it rewards you. Here in this community, I want everyone to understand this. The only limitations that exist are the ones that you accept. When you stop doubting what's possible and you start taking aligned action, trading, learning, building, evolving, and life in general opens up in ways that you can't even imagine. So today and heading into this weekend, I encourage you all to challenge your limiting beliefs. Detach from limits that you were taught and remind yourself that you're not just in the market to make money. I don't know how many times you guys I say that, right? You are here to break every limitation that they told you was impossible. All right. So that was a little bit of a motivational thread that I had written to you guys today. And then coming over to the Magus, which is again why I feel like it's so important that you all pay attention to other sections of this Discord and the community that myself, Scalper, and Aqua and Kev and the researchers have created for you guys because it's all aspects, it covers all aspects of life. So I'm going to share with you guys, these are the PDFs that I create. And moving forward, I'm not going to give you guys all my previous notes, but moving forward, we'll start a collective new group of PDFs and I'll save them to my computer. And like I said, I'll upload them for you guys to go back and just kind of read thoroughly through on Discord. So when I'm done, I'll open up the floor for conversation. We'll type out maybe 5 or 6 notes that maybe you guys have after reading thoroughly through my notes in the section in the book that I like. So you can see the date, October 31st, 2025. Screenshot of the book I always keep at the top just to remind myself where it came from, and then a screenshot of the text that I liked. And I usually read about 6 to 10 pages every day. I'll just click open a PDF. It, like I said, used to be in the third eye psychology section, but I would click open a PDF and just make it a goal every day of a random book that's in our Discord to just read at least 6 pages minimum. I strive for 10. All right. So the portion that I like today was this. It says, by the study of which man, excuse me, let me reread that. By the study of which a man who can separate himself from material objects, by the mortification of the sensual appetite, abstinence from drunkenness, gluttony, and other bestial passions, and who lives pure and temperate, free from those actions which degenerate a man to be a brute, may become a recipient of divine light and knowledge. So, in a nutshell, he who lives pure and temperate, free from those actions which degenerate a man to a brute, may become a recipient of divine light and knowledge. And so, these old esoteric books sometimes say things, and if you don't break them down further, will just fly right over your head. So why I started doing this a couple of months ago when Break Free from the Matrix came into this group and started sharing these books is so that way the knowledge for me didn't go to waste. And so the thing about information is it's sometimes information overload, especially with a Discord and a community like the one that you all exist in today because it's so much to process. And so what you have to do is you have to break it down in micro formats so that way you can feed it dripping, like you can drip feed it into your life in a way that your life can not only process it, but can manage it properly. So what I started doing is again, I told you guys I started making sure that once a day or every other day I kept it realistic with myself because usually on days that I have my daughters, I can't do this. And so what I would do is I go in 6 pages a day, read it, snap one screenshot of a message that I liked in the text that I wrote, and then journaled on it. So that way I actually digested the information and it wasn't just something that I read that just went over my head or that I didn't kind of like elaborate on. Because, like I said, you can read all these books, you can read self help books, you can read psychology books, but if you can't regurgitate the information and then actually apply it in your life because you didn't expand on it, then it's just useless. It becomes useless information that you read once upon a time. So, what I said, and here are my notes on this excerpt from The Magus by Francis Barrett. I said, think about that for a second. He who lives pure and temperate, free from those actions which degenerate a man to a brute, may become a recipient of divine light and knowledge. He was talking about mental clarity, and I highlighted that. You guys know I like my highlight tools. He was talking about mental clarity, about the state of being that you need to truly see what others can't. Barrett believed that before someone could access higher wisdom, before they could understand nature, energy, or divine intelligence, that they had to first purify themselves. They had to master their appetites, quiet their emotions, and separate from the noise of the world. And I highlighted that because that is exactly how you master the markets. You can't base your investment decisions or your trading decisions or your leverage decisions or any decisions that you make in the market successfully long term off of other people's. You can't sit there and be biased about something and jump into the market biased about the market when the market doesn't care about your bias. Again, you have to quiet the noise. So, mastering your own personal appetites, quieting your emotions, not bringing them to the market, and separating the noise of the world, the outside, from what's within and from what the market's actually showing you. And I said here the same principles apply directly to trading and really to any pursuit where success depends on how well you can control yourself. So I highlighted that because the thing is a lot of, let's say, jobs, maybe 9 to 5, that a lot of us work before coming into trading depend on the successes of others, depend on the successes of a team, depend on the successes of how the business is running, or you're given just a set of buttons to click or a set of rules that aren't necessarily your own, right? Well, trading is completely different. Same thing, like I made the reference yesterday to professional sports. So is being a professional athlete. A lot of it, obviously, of course, outside of winning a game if you're a professional athlete, but how you perform solely depends on how you control yourself, how you show up, how you stay disciplined, what rules do you set, what rules do you follow, what rules do you know that you can break on when you can break them, so on and so forth. And so that's why I highlighted this. And the same principle applies directly to trading and really to any pursuit where success depends on how well you can control yourself. Because trading and your results literally depend on exactly that, how well you can control yourself. It doesn't matter about the market, whether it's bullish, bearish, or trailing or moving sideways. It's how you control yourself when you come in with your capital in the market is the outcome that is presented to you. When you sit down at the charts, your biggest enemy is not the market, it is you. It's your greed. When you see a setup start to run and you want more. It's your fear when you take a small loss and instantly want to make it back. It's your ego when you feel like you need to be right instead of being disciplined. Barrett called those things actions that degenerate a man to a brute. They strip away your higher reasoning and turn you into something reactive, impulsive, and emotional. And I highlighted this portion again here because this is exactly how 90, I'd say like 98% of the world operates. They react emotional, they react biased, they react impulsive, right? They bring all these external factors to their trading and investment decisions. And you can see that in the views. You can see that in what content is pumped out to the masses. It's the price predictions, it's the dopamine injections, it's the stimulating entertainment that most people would be better off without, right? So you really have to become an individual that ignores these things, not necessarily ignores them because you're not going to be able to ignore them, but masters learning how to control them. Your greed, your fear, your ego, right? All of those things you need to understand strip away your higher reasoning, and they again turn you into something that is a person who's going to lose money, someone who reacts, someone who gets impulsive, someone who's emotionally attached to their investments or their trading decisions. So to continue, I said, you stop trading with awareness when you involve these things and you start trading with instinct. This is actually really powerful. I really like this. I said this to somebody this morning on the phone call. I said, you stop trading with awareness and you start trading with instinct. And instinct without discipline is chaos. Okay. Write that one down. That's a good one. You stop trading with awareness and you start trading with instinct. And instinct without discipline is chaos. Right. The more that I've studied the markets, the more I've realized that trading success isn't about predicting candles. It's about emotional neutrality. You can't receive clarity from the market, your own form of divine light, if your mind is clouded with fear, revenge, or impatience. Impatience, I put that last because that's probably one of the biggest things that I see most people, even myself today, fall victim to, is because the market offers you the ability to generate so much income so fast. You, excuse me, let me drink some water. You get clouded by the thought and the perspective and the viewpoint of others who flash like that is a reality for everybody. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is exactly how the mainstream media portrays trading and investing. Like you're going to get rich overnight. Like you're going to become as successful as the person that has 5 Lamborghinis and a Maybach sitting in their driveway. And you start to believe that that can be your reality overnight as well. And it leads to impatient trading because you want too much from the market too fast instead of putting in the self work that you need in order to get those things. I even to myself this day suffer from these things where I want too much, right? Or if I make too much, I'm not happy with my results because I know I could have made more, right? And you guys just saw the numbers that I made this month. So I still suffer from these things as well. That's why I make these journals. That's why I create these texts. And that's why I review this esoteric knowledge because it's so important to regurgitate all throughout your journey. Because the moment that you lack in an area of implementing this properly is the moment that the market wins, right? So I said the moment that you get emotionally attached to an outcome, you lose sight of what the market is actually telling you. That's why detachment is so powerful. When you detach, I think Aqua even said this when I was writing this rising. I even wanted to say, Aqua said yesterday, you have to let go, right? You have to let go. And that is such a powerful two vocabulary word phrase. Let go, right? So I said here, when you detach, you're not careless, you're just centered. You act, you observe, you adapt without letting your emotions contaminate your judgment. This is very important. I actually should probably highlight this one. Excuse me. You adapt without letting your emotions contaminate your judgment. I feel like one of the reasons why I'm so good at trading and investing is because I've been in areas and places in my life where I've had to do exactly this to stay alive, right? I've been to war twice, and there were so many times where I was overseas where if I didn't adapt to the changing environment or the situation that I was in, myself or some other people that I was involved with would have died, right? And so I lived a life where being adaptable and being formless and being able to shape or being able to move with your environment to whatever evolving shape your environment requested or needed of you, it's something that you have to bring to the markets as well, right? So to wrap this up, I said Barrett taught that the magician must enter every ritual in a state of quiet purity before invoking higher forces. That was a portion a bit higher in the text that I didn't include in this. He was talking about like rituals and how, a magician can't come into a ritual and be clouded by their judgment or their emotions. They have to come in pure, right? Or it'll F up the ritual, right? So I said for us, this means walking into every trading session clear-headed, grounded, and calm. It means protecting your mental energy the same way that you protect your capital. Because just like in the Magus, true mastery doesn't come from chasing the next win, it comes from conquering yourself. When you live pure, when you stay disciplined, when you stay patient and detached, the noise fades. And what's left is something sharper than analysis and deeper than instinct. It's clarity. It's the moment when the market speaks and you actually hear it. That is your divine light and that is your edge. So, those were my notes today. I'll leave the floor open in case you guys jotted anything down or want to regurgitate or openly discuss anything that I had written. We can create a subsection here. We'll write student notes on this and we'll kind of just feedback some or a few sentences to add to this PDF. But like I said, this will kind of be the content and my focus for YouTube moving forward. It'll help you guys. It'll open up the floor for discussion. And then people will be able to watch recordings later. And then we all in the Discord will be able to go back on these PDFs that we create as a team and reiterate the information over and over again in our lives to actually implement it and turn it into a reality for us. So I'll leave the floor open if you guys have anything. And if not, then we'll jump into the weekend.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
And we sure can.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciated that. I do it's diving into this sort of stuff where it is like, it's not about the exterior distractions. It's about that clarity in mind first, because once that clarity in mind starts to take over, in my opinion, that's when all those exterior distractions start to slough off, right? We can get rid of the television, but the mind is still going to be going at a million miles an hour looking for some sort of distraction, some sort of
Stimuli.
drug. Yep, exactly. And one thing that actually came to my mind before we started doing this reading, and I just would say, like, I appreciate the idea of moving forward with the YouTube channel, but the thing that kind of gets me is I'm very, very skeptical. And my worry would be is the second that somebody notices that one of the books that you're reading off of isn't part of their manifesto, they're going to claim it as abusive and disinformation. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these books that we're reading, they've been put under these rocks and tried to be pushed away for such a long time. That's why they're not so readily available. So going forward in this new journey of new information on YouTube, I don't want to say be mindful. And like, I guess that's coming from a place of fear, but I just would, like, I can't imagine what it would be like to build up a channel for 6 years and then just basically being cut off at the knees. I would just hate to have it happen again. So yeah, like I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm like, well, if they're going to knock you for something that you don't even know that you did, now they're actually, well, you're not, just like what was said earlier, that book isn't on our communist list. So you're the communist and we're going to ban you because that's a book that we consider a banned book.
Yeah, I definitely can see that, and I will 110% take that into consideration and move relatively strategically moving forward with
Yeah.
the word choice for sure.
Yeah. And I just, this, how we break down reading these is so beneficial. It's like, for me, it's like a mindful meditation, right? We get into these spaces and then allow our mind to start to create better dots and deeper connections. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Can anybody in their personal life or their trading life or business life or relationship life, just whatever, gravitate towards anything that I said? Like, if you're ever having an issue where you feel like speaking up but you don't know what to say, always remember that you have a storehouse of experience in your personal life that you can look back on and then dig up and be like, oh, yeah, this is how I could, and this is how I learned. And that could be a talking point for you to share when you feel like sharing, but you don't know what to say. So I encourage you guys, if there's anything that you're related to, there's probably nothing that you could say that somebody on this call couldn't relate to or, you know, learn from.
Yeah, bro, shit. It's 100%. You know what I'm saying? Everything starts with the thought in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Mind is second, thought is first. It 100% what I went through today. I feel like once I'm able to trade for the day, bro, I get excited and I fall straight back into to like instinct. You know what I mean? Like that lowest vibration you can get to. You know what I mean? Pretty much where they keep us all. That lowest vibrational, animalistic vibration, I guess. You know what I mean? And every
You really have to just want more for yourself. It's a journey that it requires, like I say, the word discipline a lot, but you really have to almost kind of catch yourself sometimes. Sometimes you have to be the person that double checks and says, "Hey, look, are you really aligning with the things that you're soaking up? Are you really aligning with the information that you're digesting?" And meditate. I can't stress enough. Meditate. Take some time to yourself. Aqua does the Thursday breathing calls. Like, take time to do that outside of Aqua's calls. You know, wake up in the morning, breathe for 10 minutes, and think about your day and create yourself a plan, create yourself a goal, and then also understand that that plan or those goals that you might try to strive for might be hindered or might be, you know, roadblocked. And when those roadblocks or those hinderings happen, you have to be, like I said in this text today, adaptable, and you have to be ready to change to certain conditions in your life if the plan doesn't go according. So, yeah, great feedback, Rico. Anybody else?
I think one other thing too, bro, is choosing to ignore some of the things that people try to infect you when it comes to their own beliefs. I think obviously in the way we go about our lives specifically and what we do and how we perform, it all sometimes gets affected, or most of the time gets affected by, what people believe, by what they say. And just choosing to ignore that and focus on what you could actually control and what you could actually do is going to be so much beneficial for you later on. Um, and that's pretty much, and like you mentioned in the beginning, unlearning the beliefs that weren't necessarily your beliefs. I think that's pretty much where the foundational basis comes from, in my perspective.
Yeah, I really like what you just said right there. So I wrote it down. Focus on what you can control. I wrote that down because it kind of clicked when you said it, bro, because that's something that my mentor told me years ago. And I really started focusing on that. So before we end this call, let's focus on some things that we can control as a team in our trading, in our investing, as an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be. Let's create a list of 5 things. Because again, remember, in trading and investing, we try so much as market participants to control the markets, but let's be realistic with ourselves. That's materially impossible. All right. We don't have enough capital. Even if we were retail investors with $500 million plus, we still don't have enough capital or principal to control or sway the markets. So when you understand your size in this space as an active participant, you stop this whole entire notion like what you hope or what you feel actually matters. And it's almost like a crushing feeling, but it's an embracing feeling because then you start to do what? You start to focus on what you can control. When you have a realization, just like when you left the matrix mentally, you had this aha moment that everything was fake and everything was, a lie. But you still have to exist. And so, what can you focus on that matters outside of that lie, outside of that bullshit that everybody else pays attention to? It's spirituality. It's maybe a deeper religious backdrop or understanding. It's maybe better relationships with with your, friends, your family, or your kids, or your spouse, or whatever. There's other things outside of the matrix that you can focus on that can still allow you to grow. So, same thing in the market. We can't sit here and control the markets, but we can focus on things that are in our control. So let's create a list of what some of those things as a trader or investor that we can control can be. Can somebody give me one?
Removing distractions.
Okay, be a little bit more detailed. I'll start it off just to give kind of like a notion. That's a good one, but let's give it a little bit more context. I'll say
So
I'll give number one. I'll say the amount of risk that you expose and are willing to accept. That's something that all of us can control and has nothing whatsoever to do with the market, right?
Daily.
so
Emotions,
Cypress,
number
Hold
one.
on, hold on.
Yeah.
Who spoke first? The first person I said that was a good one. What were you trying
Ron,
to say,
emotion.
Ron?
that was me.
Okay.
What I was going to tie that into is the reading that you just touched on, and then since I've been in this community, really ingesting Napoleon Hill, um, not wandering. So to me, removing distractions is not chasing dopamine. Like dopamine, I just looked it up, wasn't discovered until 1957. But as you read all the ancients and all the old wisdom, they knew about it. They just didn't have a name for it. So, like when I try to study charts, sometimes I catch myself wanting to skip over or jump over to social media because that's that dopamine hit really quick. So to me, that's removing the distractions, being focused and locked in on the task at hand. And then just a side note, one of my mentors in paintball, when they're talking about getting through a plan, just make the next right choice. And more often than not, when you make that next right choice, things are going to work out for you.
All
So
right,
hopefully
sweet.
that
So,
clarified.
yeah, no, that was a great rant, bro. Thomas, I put down removing distractions and attempting to avoid dopamine-driven content. And that if you are going to watch entertainment, because I know that there's people in this community that, play video games, or there's people in this community that watch sports or even participate in sports. And we as human beings, we deserve entertainment every now and then. We deserve to detach and unplug and have a form of something that just brings us joy outside of our businesses and our endeavors for growth, right? I'm 100% with that. But there's something that someone said in this community that I met in person. Javon, when he came to the CYPRX link up, we were having a chat personally, just one on one in the living room of the mansion that we were in. And he was talking about how he watches sports, he watches football, and he admitted, like, he used to be the type of person that was like so focused on sports all the time. And even though now he still watches sports, he knows that it's all part of the matrix system, and he's able to see through the bullshit and be like, oh, these sports dudes, these athletes, they're all paid freaking proppy, you know for the elite, but I still like watching football because I like it. So it's cool that you're able to discern the difference. And I said here, just to solidify that, separate reality from hype. So focus on removing distractions and attempt to avoid dopamine driven content. And if you are going to watch entertainment, learn how to separate the reality from the hype. Right. So hopefully that was a good one for what Thomas said. Who's got another one? Let's do two more or three more.
The choice of maintaining a positive outlook rather than a negative one.
Okay, so how could we verbalize that, like opt optimism over pessimism, or how do you want to word that, Max?
So it's a difficult one I want to touch because I think Amber said something earlier and this sprang to mind from that. But we're always going to have thoughts. When you practice mindfulness, that becomes self-evident. So in that mindfulness, it's being aware that you've got a constant flow of thoughts and putting them more towards a positive than the negative and doing that on a day-to-day basis. So I guess maintaining a positive attitude via mindfulness.
All right, so I said being aware that you have a constant flow of thoughts and be mindful of the flow of those thoughts and make an attempt for them to lean more positive than negative. I'll put this has a lot to do too with self-belief. Like, I've noticed that a lot of my negative thoughts stem from the same thing that I said to you guys this morning, those limiting beliefs and like failure. Like a lot of people think futuristically or negatively in a negative way, about the future in a negative way because they're afraid to fail. There's all these things that they're afraid of in the future, and that results in negative thinking. Whereas if you're always a positive person, you believe in yourself and you know deep down inside that you're gonna come out on top no matter what situation you're going through. And I've been in those places, and I'm sure you guys in your personal lives have been through some really shitty, you know, experiences. But it's like almost in a sense, when you're going through that shitty experience, I don't know about you guys, but there's been some times where I've been literally in life or death situations and I've actually found myself laughing because I knew that no matter what happened, that I was going to be mentally okay. I was going to be all right to push through that situation and come out on the other side. So I like that, Max. I'm hoping that the context that I'm putting here, being aware that you have a constant flow of thoughts and be mindful of that flow of thoughts and make an attempt for them to lean more positive than negative. Hopefully, when somebody rereads that, they can put that into context for their life.
Yeah, just for the recording, I'll try and expand on it a little bit. But essentially, in life, you're either going towards the light, or you either goal oriented and moving towards something, which means you're with the light, which is positive, or you're with the devil. You're with the devil. Essentially, you've got him whispering in your ear constantly, and you're either turning around to look at that and staying in place and being idle, etc., or you're moving towards the light. So yeah.
Nice. That gave me some outwitting the devil vibes right there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Two more guys and gals. Who's got another one?
With
Maybe we'll do one
some
more. Go
knowledge,
ahead.
some input, what we're inputting, knowing, you know what I mean?
Okay, I'll put that. I'll add that. I like that, Rico. I'll add that to number two, removing distractions and attempting to avoid dopamine-driven content. And then I'll put down here, I like your addition. Oh, we'll just add the two, replacing distractions with, I'll put expansionary content because you can expand in all aspects of your life, physically, mentally, financially, right? So that was a good one.
I was kind of leaning towards the education removes the self-doubt and it helps you from distracting.
This one's like gonna be tough to write down in a sense, but for me personally, like I always recognize that, like you said, um, walking into every trading session clear-headed, grounded, and calm. To me, it's like, what are you doing before the trading session? Like, what's your morning routine look like? Are you getting up, journaling? Are you working out? Are you getting a bite of coffee, getting coffee, whatever it is, like having consistency before the trading session to allow yourself to have a calm mind.
I like that, Jeff. And I like how people don't even know as a young man some of the things that you've accomplished in your career, bro. You
Mhm.
know, I do. And I know that who's speaking to you right now, guys and gals, is a very disciplined young lad. So really good to see. I wrote down maintaining a disciplined routine with positive consistency because some people can have negative routines. You know what I mean? Like they can have really bad routines, like things that they constantly do that don't bring any positive results. So that's really great is maintaining a disciplined route. Having positive consistency, just like Jeff said, and I feel like I've even heard Aqua talk about this and make the adjustment live with you guys this week, is he was like, man, I gotta start getting up a little bit earlier so that way I'm clear-minded and I'm not disoriented when I come into the charts to give myself time to kind of like wake up, drink my water, drink my coffee, meditate a little bit, do some chart analytics, and then trade instead of just waking up and boom, jumping onto the charts all kind of crazy disoriented because you just woke up 15 minutes ago, right? So that's really great. I really like that
Um,
one.
you can control how you take care of your body, um, how to prevent um, by taking care of your body, how to prevent illnesses.
Okay, so we could put health, right? We could put we could put health is wealth. Health is wealth. I'll add this too, you know, um, I'll put remember, you know what, I'll add that as a second one. Health is wealth. And even though, because I don't want anybody to think that just because I work out or I encourage people to go and work out, right, that that's like the level of health I'm talking about. Like there's so many other ways that you could practice health, breathing techniques, stretching, eating proper foods, all things that will equate to a healthier lifestyle for you that don't require your time at the gym, right? So understand that. I have a perspective that health is wealth, but that doesn't mean you have to be an aesthetically pleasing person. You could still be the same person or size that you are and just make better life habits and choices with what you consume. So that's a good one. Who was that? DeFi Crusader. And I'll add the last one. I'm having a brain fart. We already said risk. Remember, we're talking about things that we can. The list that you guys have come up with so far, by the way, is really great. Removing distractions, you can control that. Being aware that you have a constant flow of thoughts and being mindful of the flow of thoughts and the lean that they have, positive to negative. Maintaining a disciplined route. I think that's probably one of the most efficient ones. Okay. How you react. This is one that I've personally actually lived through with you guys, but how you react to setbacks and losses, right? Because again, this is something that the market doesn't care about. This is something that we control, right? So when you lose, when you experience some type of blockage, maybe you're just in DeFi in this community and you've come across a protocol that's like frustrating. How many times has Kevin been like, yeah, that shit's glitchy and you got to take a couple of troubleshoots to get around it, but eventually I figured it out. Well, that's because when a setback comes to Kevin, he doesn't just like fold and crumble under pressure. He figures it out. So I'd say be a problem solver, right? Be a problem solver and learn from losses. Collect it as collect it as data that you can I'll put improve upon.
How about learning how to respond instead of
Ooh.
react?
Ooh, okay. Okay. Learning how to okay, how could we word that so that doesn't sound like what do you mean by respond? Respond to
So respond, to me, just energetically, it's more of a, oh, my friend texted me, I'm going to respond back to them, instead of my friend is pissed at me and I'm going to send back a nasty text. So a response is more of a calm approach, a more of a, not necessarily thought out, but it comes from a place of neutrality, which we talked on earlier.
More distance.
Reaction.
Yeah,
The
you have
reaction.
distance with
Everything is
the
action to
impact.
Don't be
learn how
reactive.
So
okay.
non-emotional.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's
Or
do
level-headed.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Okay. Learn how to
But respond rather than react are the correct word
Or like how to take a
in
step
life.
back and not react too fast.
I know
Think
it's like
before you
so weird. I
react.
know exactly what Amber's trying to say. It's like when somebody says something and you want to immediately just like fucking put your hands around their neck and choke them to death, but you
You
don't.
want to take the high
Yeah.
road.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what's
Not
that
make a
called?
lot
Think
of
before you
noise.
react.
Being
Well,
mindful.
Maturity.
That's being mindful.
Be mature.
impulsive.
Yeah, bro, put
Scientifically,
that down. Put that
it's
down.
staying out of the amygdala, right? It's
Okay.
staying out of
Yeah,
that fight or flight response.
Yeah.
It's training the brain
Absorb
to
the
not
it's the
information.
nervous
be.
system.
Absorb
Okay,
the
so
information
let's
before you
put not
react.
reacting. Let's put not reacting with our animal instincts.
The,
Yep.
Impulsively.
the correct words in your passage, I just can't remember what that word was.
Calm
But
down, pit
that,
bulls. Y'all are awesome pit
that was
bulls.
your whole
I think we're all reacting,
Right. Proving your point.
Not
right?
But we all
reacting with
Because we
say
our
the
want,
animal
same
instincts.
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
Mastery of
want to
mind
learning how
train
to
the
becomes
treat
mind,
yourself
follower.
when you're holding.
training the mind to be in that space, because being reactionary is also very, very important. Jumping out of the way of a moving vehicle. We need to keep those skills sharp in that way and know when to use them appropriately.
You know what I'll do?
Also, mind the story we tell ourselves with
you got that word
reactions,
up
and we
there.
can change it.
Would it be
But
as
there is an
simple as
example.
living consciously?
Yeah, there is an example. If you put your finger way too close to your eyes, you cannot see your finger. So you need to distance your finger slightly from your vision to be able to see clearly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be
So
as
it's
simple as
detachment.
living consciously?
You wear glasses, Camille?
Wait a minute, sweet.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Yeah, to quote my mother, think before you act.
I
Yeah,
love it.
I'll put it like this. Yeah, not reacting with our animal instincts, living consciously and being aware of our actions, understanding that our actions have reactions because every action has either a positive or negative reaction. And if you can understand that, as to Amber's example, like don't be the type of person that lashes out and reacts when she used the example of when a friend texts you, like don't be the type of person that lashes out. Be the type of person that remains calm, cool, and collective in control of the situation, almost in a sense, right? Be a master of your environment by being in
Hmm.
control. So that was good.
Take a second to absorb the information
Yeah.
before you react.
Let's see if I can pull
Yeah.
it back. All right, cool. So that's a really solid list, I'd say. I said five and we came up with seven. So I think that we'll cut it there. I'll highlight this in bold, and that's not a bad list to wrap up today's call. Hold on, let me just make this a little bit bigger for you guys, for the ones who do wear glasses, because I think about you guys too, okay? All righty. Yeah, that was not too bad today. So I'll upload this PDF. These will get tossed in the down here. These will get tossed in the educational PDF section here. So that way we can go back to them if you ever want to or need to or this and that. But this is where they will start to come and get dropped. And then, yeah, moving forward, like I said, we'll start doing these calls honestly more often. There'll be days where I don't, like, I just make content like this, and then there'll be things that you can watch as a recording, and you guys will see me occasionally drop PDFs on here. And then occasionally we'll also host Zoom calls like this where we'll openly discuss and talk about these things. So, yeah, that's all that I have for you guys today. This is a great conversation. Really appreciate everybody's time and forward guidance and their outlook and their perspectives. I think that all matters as a collective whole. Yeah, if you guys have anything else, if not, then enjoy your weekend. It's 11:11. We just ended the Zoom call on 11:11.
Hey, I got one more thing
Whoop,
that
whoop.
necessarily make the list, but I think it would be important to kind of say, is for, like especially the new people who are just coming into CyPRX, really lean into this community and don't be afraid to talk to people. When I first started, I was one of the people who were kind of, just afraid to talk to people and, like really put my foot out there. But, I couldn't imagine being, anywhere else but here with you guys, especially coming from a space where none of my friends, none of my family understand crypto or trading or anything like that. And when I tell them, oh, this is my hobby, they kind of look at me and be like, oh, good luck. So not having that support and, necessarily that support in my real, my life outside of the community, it's really amazing to be here and to have that sense of, what, I'm not alone, and there are people that are going through these same struggles and challenges that I am. And like for the past few weeks, like I've been really able to connect to some people that are trading like the same pair as me, and they're asking questions about, oh, well, what can you see? And I'm like, well, you know what, I can actually answer this. I can be of help to someone. And I didn't think that that was a space that I would ever find myself in. And, and here I am, and coaching other people and people coaching me. And so the camaraderie and the community that we have here, it's not just for us to go on, look and read, like actually be a part of it. Like, it's so rewarding to actually be a part of it, whether you're receiving information or giving it out. It's just amazing.
Mic drop.
Well said,
Boom.
Eric.
United we stand.
Well said. Well said.
Well said, Eric.
We're
Thank you.
definitely gonna need a material complex for the next link up. That's for fucking sure. So,
Yep.
but yeah, blessings to you guys. You guys enjoy your weekend. Let me end the recording real fast. Aqua, bro.